Hey mama, I'm back.
Hey Mama, welcome back. I'm Soraya Michelle. If you're new here, I am the Mom Wellness Coach. I help moms to live their best motherly lives while overcoming some of the hardest mental challenges of life. Go ahead and hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and also hit the notification bell so you can be notified of all new uploads. You can walk in your purpose with the Most High as your guide and me as your coach. Now's the time, Mama.
Hey mama, you ready to unpack today? Because I know I am. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and invite the Most High into the room and get it started. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for allowing us to take this time out of our day just to unpack some of the things that are going on with us mentally. And we know that you say in Isaiah 59 verse 19 that when the enemy comes rushing in like a flood, that you will raise a standard against him. And we're trusting you to do that right now for us today. And we pray that you will be there for this mama right where she is right now, and that you will show her your love and your compassion, and that she feels seen, heard, and loved. And I would just ask that you would just give her a big hug, a big spiritual hug, that she will know that you are in the midst with her right now. Amen. Okay, y'all ready to get started? Okay, because I am. All right. Okay, so today we're going to start with a story. Really quick, a quick story. So, whenever I had postpartum depression with my first daughter, it lasted for 5 years. And there were things that I did that made it much worse than it had to be. So basically, it started because I had a very strong sense of inadequacy. And I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about because it's just like this thing of like, am I a good mom? Am I gonna be a good mom or what? Like, and like I was only 21 at this point. So I'm confused. This is my first child. I've never even gone through labor before. I'm in all this pain. I'm swollen, all this stuff, all the feelings. And so I'm thinking, okay, all this is gonna surpass me whenever I go ahead and get to, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. Honestly, I don't know, girl. I have no idea what I was expecting. But either way, I felt completely inadequate, especially seeing as she came out so beautiful. And I just felt like, how am I supposed to take care of this beautiful baby that I, I just was at a loss, needless to say. Okay, so it progressed pretty rapidly, and I wasn't really expecting it. And I think when you're that young, you don't expect that something, you just don't expect yourself to change in that way. And I really thought that she deserved a better mom because I didn't know what I was doing. And, you know, that's really a dangerous place to be because you're setting yourself up for imposter syndrome. I did certain things that made postpartum depression much worse. I call it the pile up. And, or I mean, other people call it the pile up too. It ain't my word, but I definitely call it the pile up because it's just, you've already got the issue. You're starting with the issue, and then you're putting this on top of the issue. So you can't fix the issue until you fix this issue. Then you put something else on top of that issue, and then you can't fix this issue until you fix this issue. And it's just a progression. So needless to say, it is a pileup. And so where it started was that self-hatred. Self-hatred, because she came out so wonderful, like I say, I began to hate myself and thinking that I couldn't be what she needed me to be or who she deserved. And I'm thinking, how can something so beautiful and wonderful come from me? And once again, very dangerous place to be. And so, in this way, another thing that I did was because I'm dealing with this self hatred, I'm self sabotaging. And so, it's just like a mess. It was a mess because I was making all these bad decisions. Girl, it was just not good. So, another thing that piled up is, I mean, literally piled up disorganization, which I'm not gonna pretend like, I have it all figured out to this day. But at the same time, there are systems that you can put in place to make sure that you are just working at being a little bit more organized. It just helps things to flow a little bit easier and helps you to stay more regulated, emotionally regulated. Um, yeah, emotionally regulated. So, and another one. Here's actually a bonus because I didn't write this one down, but I was actually overeating soy. And for those that don't know, do your research. Soy, when you overeat it, it produces extra estrogen. And too much estrogen in the body can cause a bigger problem with postpartum depression because postpartum depression is hormonal. It is not something that, oh, I'm just sad today and then I can just, move on from it another time. It's actually, oh, got it. It's actually a hormonal illness, and that you really might need to see a doctor for, depending on the severity of it. So, yeah, let's discuss the symptoms that are associated with postpartum depression. And I'm going to post the link to Mayo Clinic, my resource, below in the description box so that you can actually read their article that they, from actual doctors, because disclaimer, I am not an actual doctor. I'm not a therapist. I am helping mothers like me that need the assistance to know that they can make it out of postpartum depression because it's really hard and I know how it feels, and so I want other people to know that there is somebody out there that knows how it feels and that is willing to give you the information that you're looking for because you need to know how to get out of it. So the first step is, like I said, listing the symptoms, knowing what you're dealing with. So anger. I'm not an angry person, but I had a very, uh, whew, I had a very high level of anger, which in turn created shame because, like I said, I'm not really an angry person. So when I felt all this anger, I felt shame about it. And so, yeah, so there's anger, severe anxiety, going in with panic attacks. That's another symptom. So severe anxiety, and panic attacks. I know whenever I was dealing with the severe anxiety, I literally, I didn't realize it until I began to lose touch with reality. And like, I was so anxious that I literally one day was just like in the shower and like I I couldn't breathe. Everything was like looking at certain things was like scaring me. It was the weirdest thing that I had never experienced it, and I still have not experienced it again since then. But literally, I had lost touch with reality. I couldn't breathe for really an hour. I mean, eventually, I was able to regulate myself. I just laid down and situated myself, but. Yeah, so anxiety, panic attacks, guilt. Mamas, I know this is one of those things that it's just like, okay, There's guilt. There's a normal level of guilt because we all, to a certain level as moms, deal with guilt. But there's like this severe postpartum depression guilt that's like everything makes you feel guilty and you second guess every single step you take. So next one, hopelessness. Hopelessness, not thinking that you'll actually be able to make it out of this headspace that you're actually in. Loss of interest in activities and things that you once originally loved. Loved ones. If you're on this video and you are suspecting that your significant other or your family member is dealing with postpartum depression, this is a telltale sign that there were things that they used to love to do and they literally never want to do it at all. Like, even if you suggest it, it just seems like too much of a task just to even do one thing that they actually love to do. And this was very heavy for me personally. Mood swings. I mean, we deal with this on a regular basis just as women, but mood swings in postpartum depression are very intense because you don't even realize that it's happening. It's just like you're happy, you're sad, you're angry, everything all at once. So, I mean, sometimes it's not even a swing. Sometimes it's like the two at once. It's just too much. So, fatigue, right along with loss of interest in activities, overeating. I had this severely, oh my goodness. I call it the bottomless pit, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Literally, my stomach was a bottomless pit. Okay. Constant irritability. This can look like being irritated with your children, or even your baby, which is hard to talk about because, like, who wants to say that they're irritated with their baby? But it is a real thing that can happen, and if you notice that you are doing this, you really want to seek help, especially for this, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you may feel the thought to hurt yourself or your baby. And so yeah. Crying all the time, like never happy. Never happy. That was a mosquito. Uncontrollable thoughts, intrusive thoughts, some people call it. This is one thing that I actually use as a tactic in my coaching. I help moms to control the thoughts that they have rather than just letting every single thought in as an attack. We learn how to sit down and say, okay, what's true, what's a lie, and deal with it from there. Your thoughts are valid, your feelings are valid, but at the same time, you want to know that that you can control the thoughts that are coming into your mind, and let them kind of bounce out. And okay, so a difficulty bonding with your baby. I dealt with this for a very long time whenever I had my first child. With my second child, it wasn't so bad. I didn't have such a hard time bonding with her because I think I was expecting it. And so there were certain things that I just did differently the second time around. So yes, weight gain goes in with the overeating. Withdrawing from friends and family, isolating yourself, that also goes in with anger, because anger can cause you to withdraw from your friends and family, and you're not even realizing that normally, even whenever you're angry with your family, because you love them, you still are dealing with them, unless they're toxic. But normally, everybody has issues, so, you should be willing to still deal with your family. But if you're withdrawing from them because you just don't want to deal with anything at all, that's a telltale sign as well. Fear of not being a good mother. I talked about this a second ago. at feeling like, your child deserves a better mom. That's not a good thing, because you're her mom or his mom. You're their mom, and nobody's going to be able to be you the way that you can. So they do deserve you as a mom because you love them the most. Nobody's going to love them the way that you can. So yes, fear of not being a good mother, reduced ability to think clearly. Now, this is one of those that, okay, mom brain is a thing. It happens, sometimes we just have that mom brain where we just like kind of, it happens to me all the time. But with postpartum depression, it is a little bit stronger, and it's like you can never think clearly. It's not like, oh, I forgot something really quickly. It's not like that. It's like never can you ever think clearly. Recurring thoughts of death and suicide. And this was one that I dealt with heavily. I won't go into the details right now. That video is going to come as we get to know each other a little bit, as we, sometimes you need a little bit of time to get to know each other before you get into those nitty-gritty things, nitty-gritty details. But yeah, so this was very serious for me, and it was on multiple occasions. And so yeah, recurring thoughts of death and suicide is very important. That's another telltale sign if you are wondering about if you're dealing with postpartum depression or not. And fear, and an abnormal amount of fear, as in terms of like, again, losing touch with reality. That kind of goes in with anxiety. So yes, now there are some symptoms that I did not experience. This first list was symptoms that I did experience. They are 19 of them, and I have a total of 26. So the other symptoms that I did not experience were loss of appetite, because like I said, I had a bottomless pit. Restlessness. I was always tired. So restlessness might look like basically you just not wanting to deal with your feelings, so you're just constantly keeping yourself busy. Weight loss, because you have a loss of appetite. Insomnia, not wanting to sleep at all. So basically the opposite of fatigue. With insomnia, you feel fatigued as well, but with fatigue, most of the time you just want to kind of just stay asleep. But insomnia is like fatigue and insomnia together. So it's just, yeah. Repeatedly going over the same thoughts. So basically obsessing over things that, once again, losing touch with reality. Maybe that should be on the list, losing touch with reality. I think that actually has to do with postpartum psychosis a little bit more than postpartum depression. But yeah, so repeatedly going over the same thoughts, so obsessing. Reduced ability to make decisions. I didn't have that, so I can't really speak on that one specifically. Or thoughts of harming your baby. So like I said, that one kind of goes in with irritation, or being irritated with your baby, because that one basically grows into thinking about harming your baby. So like I said, if you dealt with just a couple of these symptoms, as moms, being a mom is hard. So there's a chance that you could be dealing with some of these symptoms, and and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have postpartum depression. But because I have mom brain all the time, and I still deal with guilt, that mom guilt sometimes, and I get irritated sometimes. But at the same time, I wouldn't consider myself having postpartum depression today. And so when you have some of those symptoms, it's okay. You can kind of function. But when you realize that you are not able to function in your day-to-day life, that is basically going to tell you that you are dealing with postpartum depression and you need to see a doctor or a therapist. So yeah, help. How can you receive help for this mental illness of postpartum depression? You can seek help from a non-judgmental friend or a loved one that you trust to keep your secrets. And also you can seek help from a spiritual leader or a spiritual leader that is going to keep your secrets. Because there are times when, maybe this may have a little bit to do with some church hurt. Now, I believe in the Most High, but sometimes in certain churches, we don't keep secrets the way that we should. Secrets, safe secrets, because some secrets should not be held. But as far as like, speaking to somebody in confidence, as like maybe a pastor or whoever is your spiritual leader, they should be able to keep your secret without you thinking that they may go and tell somebody else and that person is looking at you in a judgmental way. So make sure that this is a person that you know that they're not going to share your feelings with anyone else. A therapist. So this is one that many people are choosing. Personally, I did not, for many reasons that I'm not going to get into today. But a therapist is a good way to cope with your postpartum depression. But just make sure that it is someone that you do align with in your beliefs and everything like that, because you want to be able to respond to anything that they may assign you to do. And if it doesn't align with your beliefs, you're not going to be able to follow through. So just making sure that any therapist you speak with does align with whatever you believe. And another source is a life coach. And life coaches come in many different forms. So a life coach will be able to help you because most of the time they are speaking from their specific experiences, and they've been where you are right now. And I believe that this is the best option because it is good to speak to somebody that has been where you are, that can give you hope of being able to get out of the postpartum depression that you're in right now. And hint, hint. Okay, I'm just going to expect you to understand what this look means. I am a life coach. Okay, we're just going to say it because just in case you were wondering. You can reach out to me via email. I will have my email in the description box, as well as a few other resources. Now, if you are in immediate crisis, I will have a link to the 988 hotline below because I don't want anyone to feel as though they don't have anyone to talk to immediately, especially if you are having thoughts of suicide or harming yourself or your family. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. I'm going to read it and then I'm going to break it down real quick. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. I'm going to read it and then I'm going to break it down for you. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So, what this is saying, God has not given us a spirit of fear. And so, fear is a spirit, and we have to cast it out. That's just point blank, period. It's a spirit, it needs to be cast out. And that is seeing as that is a symptom of postpartum depression. That's why this verse specifically stuck out to me. But not only that, he says he gives us a spirit of power, a spirit of love, and of a sound mind. A spirit of power is important. Depression is not giving power. Depression is not powerful. Walking in confidence is power. Walking into your destiny is power. A spirit of love. Self-hatred is not love. If he gives you a spirit of love, that also means that you should have a spirit of self-love as well. And spirit of a sound mind. Depression is not having a sound mind. Anxiety is not having a sound mind. So it's important that we cast out fear and we accept the spirit that the Most High does give us, which is power, love, and a sound mind. We have to accept it. If we don't accept it, then it's not going to work. You're just going to be walking around in circles trying to figure out why you're dealing with what you're dealing with, when he tells you right here that he does not give you fear. He gives you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Okay? So with that said, in the next video, we are going to discuss how you can overcome postpartum depression. So I've given you some tips and tricks a little bit, but we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive on how exactly you can overcome postpartum depression. Thank you so much for joining my video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when I do post my next upload. See y'all on the next one.
One more thing, mamas. Shoot me a comment below with anything else you want to talk about. Also, let me know if you have any questions. I will do my best to respond. Remember to like and subscribe. And if this video helped you in any way, share it with a friend that needs a reminder to take care of their mental wellness. See you in the next one.